A Doll's House, Act 1, Scene 2, Nora and Miss Linde. Helmer goes into his room. The maid ushers in Miss Linde, who is in traveling dress, and shuts the door. Miss Linde, in a dejected and timid voice, "How do you do, Nora?" Nora doubtfully, "How do you do?" Miss Linde, "You don't recognize me, I suppose." Nora, "No, I don't know. Yes, to be sure, I seem to—" Suddenly, "Yes, Christine! Is it really you?" Miss Linde, "Yes, it is I." Nora, "Christine, to think of my not recognizing you, and yet, how could I?" In a gentle voice, "How you have altered, Christine." Miss Linde, "Yes, I have indeed, in 9, 10 long years." "Is it so long since we met?" "I suppose it is. The last 8 years have been a happy time for me, I can tell you. And so now you've come into the town and have taken this long journey in winter. That was plucky of you." "I arrived by steamer this morning." "To have some fun at Christmas time? Of course. How delightful. We will have such fun together. But take off your things. You are not cold, I hope." "Now we will sit down by the stove and be cozy." "No, take this armchair. I will sit here in the rocking chair." Takes her hands. "Now you look like your old self again. It was only the first moment. You are a little paler, Christine, and perhaps a little thinner." "And much, much older, Nora." "Perhaps a little older." "Very, very little. Certainly not much." Stops suddenly and speaks seriously. "What a thoughtless creature I am! Chattering away like this! My poor dear Christine, do forgive me." "What do you mean, Nora?" "Poor Christine, you are a widow." "Yes, it is 3 years ago now." "Yes, I knew. I saw it in the papers. I assure you, Christine, I meant ever so often to write to you at the time, but I always put it off, and something always prevented me." "I quite understand, dear." "It was very bad of me, Christine. Poor thing. How you must have suffered. And he left you nothing?" "No." "And no children?" "No." "Nothing at all, then? Not even any sorrow or grief to live upon?" Looks incredulously at her. "But Christine, is that possible?" Smiles sadly and strokes her hair. "It sometimes happens, Nora." "So you are quite alone? How dreadfully sad that must be. I have 3 lovely children. You can't see them just now, for they are out with their nurse, but now you must tell me all about it." "No, no, I want to hear about you." "No, you must begin. I mustn't be selfish today. Today I must only think of your affairs. But there is one thing I must tell you. Do you know we have just a great piece of good luck?" "No, what happened?" "Just fancy! My husband has been made manager of the bank." "Your husband? What good luck!" "Yes, tremendous! A barrister's profession is such an uncertain thing, especially if he won't undertake unsavory cases. And naturally, Torvald was never been willing to do that. And I quite agree with him. You may imagine how pleased we are. He is to take up his work in the bank and at the new year, and then he will have a big salary and lots of commissions. For the future, we can live quite differently. We can do just as we like. I feel so relieved and so happy, Christine. It will be splendid to have heaps of money and not need to have any anxiety, won't it? Yes, anyhow, it would be delightful to have what one needs. No, not only what one needs, but heaps and heaps of money. Nora, Nora, haven't you learned sense yet? In our school days, you were a great spendthrift. Laughing. Yes, that is what Torvald says now. Wags her finger at her. But Nora, Nora, is not so silly as you think. We have not been in a position for me to waste money. We have had to work. You too? Yes, odds and ends, needlework, crochet work, embroidery, and that kind of thing. And other things as well. You know, Torvald left his office when we were married. There was no prospect of promotion there, and he had to try and earn more than before. But during the first year, he overworked himself dreadfully. You see, he had to make money every way he could, and he worked early and late, but he couldn't stand it and fell dreadfully ill. And the doctor said it was necessary for him to go south. You spent a whole year in Italy, didn't you? Yes. It was no easy matter to get away, I can tell you. It was just after Ivar was born. But naturally, we had to go. It was a wonderfully beautiful journey and it saved Torvald's life, but it cost a tremendous lots of money, Christine. So I should think. It cost about 250 pounds. That's a lot, isn't it? Yes, in emergencies like that, it is lucky to have the money. I ought to tell you, we had it from Papa. Oh, I see. It was just about the time that he died, wasn't it? Yes, and just think about it. I couldn't go and nurse him. I was expecting little Ivar's birth every day, and I had my poor sick Torvald to look after. My dear, kind father. I never saw him again, Christine. That was the saddest time I've known since our marriage. I know how fond you were of him. And then you went off to Italy? Yes, you see, we had the money then, and the doctors insisted on our going, so we started a month later. And your husband came back well? As sound as a bell. But the doctor? What doctor? I thought your maid sent a gentleman who arrived here just as I did was the doctor. Yes, that was Dr. Rank. He doesn't come here professionally. He is our greatest friend and comes in at least once every day. No, Torvald has not had an hour's illness since then. And our children are strong and healthy, and so am I. She jumps up and claps her hands. Christine, Christine, it's good to be alive and happy, but how horrid of me. I am talking of nothing but myself, my own affairs. Sits on a stool near her and rests her arms on her knees. You mustn't be angry with me. Tell me, is it really true that you did not love your husband? Why did you marry him? My father was alive then and was bedridden and helpless, and I had to provide for my two younger brothers. So I did not think I was justified in refusing his offer. No, perhaps you are quite right. He was rich at the time then. I believe he was quite well off, but his business was a precarious one. And when he died, it all went to pieces and there was nothing left. And then, well, I had to turn my hand to anything I could find. First a small shop, and then a small school, and so on. The last 3 years have seemed like one long working day with no rest. Now it is at the end, an end, Nora. My poor mother needs me no more, for she is gone, and the boys do not need me either. They have got situations and can shift for themselves. What a relief you must feel if... No, indeed, I only feel my life unspeakably empty. No one to live for anymore. She gets up restlessly. That was why I couldn't stand the life in my little backwater any longer. I hope it may be easier here to find something which will busy me and occupy my thoughts. If I only could have some luck to get some regular work, office work of some kind. But Christine, that is so frightfully tiring. And you look tired out now. You had better go away to some watering place. Walking to the window, I have no father to give me money for a journey, Nora. Oh, don't be angry with me.